Hi guys, so today I have a back to school advice video for you, and this is going to be mostly about high school classes and academics and like extracurriculars and teachers and all of that stuff, like what high school is really about, what it's like supposed to be about, because most advice videos I've seen are more on like making friends and all of that stuff, but I figured I would do one on the academic side of things because honestly that's my better side. So I'm just going to get into it. Okay, so the first thing I have to say is to make a good first impression on your teachers, because I'm not saying you have to be a goody two-shoes or a teacher's pet or anything like that, but just make a good first impression, like be respectful and show that you're really making an effort in their class and don't be like goofing off and stuff. And they'll definitely like you more if they see that you're working hard. And then if you need to like ask for help or ask to retake a test or like get an extension on a project or something, they're obviously going to be a lot more willing to work with you on it if they actually like you and they know that you try in their class. So like I said, you don't have to be a teacher's pet, but voice crack, sorry, that was awkward. But just try to make a good impression on them and just like don't talk back. I mean, you'll learn over time like which teachers you can kind of joke around with sometimes, and that's fine, but just overall try to make a good impression on your teachers. It will really help you out later. Okay guys, so sorry for the awkward change of attire, but I was just editing this video and I realized that I left out some things I wanted to talk about. So right now I had volleyball today, so I'm like wearing no makeup and I have on workout clothes, but anyway. One of the things that I forgot to mention when I was filming this video whenever ago was that you should try to figure out what kind of learner you are, because that'll help you out with studying and note-taking and everything. So the three main types of learning that I know about are visual, audio, and kinetic. Oh, and there are like tons of quizzes and stuff online I'm sure that you can take to determine which type of learner you are. I just took one in like this one class, but I kind of figured it out anyway. Visual is pretty self-explanatory, like seeing things helps you remember them the best. So if you're a visual learner, you want to like draw pictures and draw diagrams for yourself in your notes and like see clips of things explained and just visual type things that help you remember better, and that will help you do better on tests and stuff if you're learning and remembering things in the best way possible for you. And then the second type of learner is audio, and that is the type of learner I am. I like to hear things, and that's just how I remember them the best, if I hear things. So I tend to remember like teachers' lectures and stuff. One thing that I do that helps me out, like I don't do this for every test, but for my history final last year, I typed out like a whole big long study guide. It was like 10 pages on Microsoft Word, and then I used the voice recorder on my laptop to record myself reading the study guide out loud, and I kind of lost my voice after that, but basically I would just play the recording on my computer while I was doing other things, and it would just be like playing kind of in the background, but I would still be absorbing it because I was hearing all my notes like reinforced into my mind. And another thing that helps me is just like making a study guide of like questions and answers, and then having someone ask you the questions and then out loud obviously, and then you have to answer them, or making flashcards. So those are all things that help me learn personally. And the third type of learner that I know of anyway is kinetic, which is like touching things and doing things. So or maybe it's kinesthetic, that's probably it. Sorry, I sound like an idiot now, but anyway, that means like doing things. So that can be kind of hard, you know, when you're like have math notes, like how are you supposed to show motion with those, you know, like build models and stuff. And I don't know, I don't have that much advice to offer you because that doesn't really help me as much. But if you go online, like I said, and determine which type of learner you are, and they'll probably have like ways to study for that type of learning, and it will definitely help you out on tests and stuff when you're studying to know what helps you the best. And another point I wanted to mention is that you probably will have friends in other like grade levels and that have different classes than you, and then like when you find out each other's schedules, you want to tell each other like, oh, I had that class, blah blah blah, that teacher is blah blah blah. But honestly, take people's advice with a grain of salt. Okay, maybe if like 10 people that you've talked to have all said that this one teacher is really mean and really strict, then okay, you should bear that in mind when you go into that class and not be like disrespectful and rude. But just based on different personal experiences, everyone has a different like relationship with every different teacher, and some people might not like classes that you would love. So don't like let people's opinions of classes and teachers that they've already had bias you too much when you're going into that class, because you might like it even though everyone else hated it. Like, who knows? So just take their opinions with a grain of salt, especially if they haven't even had that class. Like, I had this one friend who just tells me things about different classes, like, based on things she's heard from upperclassmen, and it kind of annoys me because I'm like, dude, you haven't even had that class. Why are you telling me, like, oh, that teacher is awful? Like, So, just take people's advice on that kind of stuff with a grain of salt, because it differs from person to person. Okay, now in my high school, you can pick some of your classes. Like, you have certain requirements that you have to fill, but you can pick which classes you want to take. So when you're picking classes, don't pick classes just because your friends are taking them. Take what you think that you'd be interested in, what level, what you think would be good for you. Like, don't go down a level just because your friend is taking that class. I'm sure you'll see someone you know in your class, but even if you don't, that's a good opportunity to meet new people and just, like, you know, talk to different people. So pick your classes based on what you think you need. Also, you know, what would look good on high school transcripts if you're worried about that stuff. But that brings me to another point, which is don't do everything based on getting into college, because, okay, I'm kind of like that, not gonna lie, but I do try to, like, think about it, like, would I do this if it wasn't just for my college or high school transcript? Because some people, they're just like getting into a good college, getting into a good college, getting into a good college, and that's all they think about when they're like making decisions on what classes and extracurriculars to take. So you really should just think about if you actually like that, like, extracurricular or club or whatever, or if you would take that class, if you'd actually be interested in it other than having it look good on your college applications. I mean, you obviously want to consider that too, but that shouldn't be the only thing that you consider. Okay, some tips for being in class. This sounds really simple, but make sure you take notes, because that's just really important for when you're studying, or if you just, like, look back through your notes that night. And if you take good notes, then it'll be so much easier for you to do homework and prepare for your tests and do well on tests and quizzes and everything. But if you don't, then you'll just be like, wait, what happened in class? And that's just not good. And as for studying for tests and quizzes, I would say don't cram the night before. At the very least, try to study like 2 to 3 nights before, just a little bit each night. And I like to make study guides for my classes, usually for like history and language arts and science and stuff. If the teacher gives you a paper before the test that says like what's going to be on it, use that to make a study guide, go through your notes, like type out sample questions and answers and like write definitions and stuff. And really for me, just like typing it and then reading it helps me like just absorb the information more. It's a good idea to just look through your notes from that day in class every night when you're doing your homework, just for like 5 or 10 minutes, so you can see if there's anything that you didn't understand or you weren't quite sure about, and then you can ask the teacher or someone else in your class to help you understand it better, so that not the night before your test you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what this means at all. So just studying a little bit each night will help the information stay in your head more. Okay, for projects, my biggest tip is to outline things. Like, I'm a big person to like outline and plan everything out beforehand for projects and stuff. So just like write down the general like steps that you need to do, like research your information, compile it, and like type out the bullet points, cut it out and put it on the poster. I don't know, that's just a random example. But just planning it out and then doing like one thing at a time will make it a lot more manageable than just like, oh my gosh, I have this huge project. And also for group projects, sometimes you get to pick your partner, sometimes you don't, and sometimes it just kind of sucks because you're the one who does all the work in the group. And personally, I am the one who like takes over the project and does the whole thing, but I'll admit it, like I'm a control freak when it comes to that because I want to get good grades. Sorry if I keep touching my hair, I don't know, just keep touching it, but I need to stop. But just like talk to your group members and try to work with them, and if there really is a problem where someone's not pulling their weight, or if someone just like went psycho and did the whole project, that would be me, then just talk to your teacher and tell them about it, and they'll probably just like figure something out and, you know, with the grading, just so they know about it beforehand, so it's not like after you got a C on the project and you're like, hey, well, she didn't do her work. So just tell them about it beforehand. And another thing is that you should definitely ask your teachers for help if you don't understand something. Go in before school, go in after school. They're usually there earlier and later, so there's probably a time that they'll be there that you can go in, ask for help. Even if you think you understand it, it's still a good idea, like if that's a subject that you struggle in, to just go in for like 5 minutes a few times a week and just like go over the concepts that you did in class to make sure you really get it and just like reinforce it in your mind. And most teachers are more than willing to help, and even if you have like a bad teacher, go to another teacher in that department. Like go to a different math teacher that teaches the same subject and ask them to explain it to you, because usually they can, and you might like their teaching style better than your teacher, and you can't really do anything about that in class, but you can ask them to like explain things to you and go to them for help. Okay, next topic, homework. Do your homework, okay, just do it. I know it's just kind of like boring and not fun, but you should do it because usually that counts for at least part of your grade, and even if it doesn't, it really helps prepare you for tests and quizzes. So if you don't do your homework, you're probably not going to do well on tests, so even if it's not graded, you should still do at least like part of it. I mean, my math teacher last year like assigned a certain set of problems each night, and he didn't check them usually, but you could decide how many you wanted to do just like based on how well you got it. Like you don't have to do all of them or anything, but a lot of the time homework is collected and graded, so just do your homework. And I know it's boring, but even just like do it with your friend. That doesn't mean copying off each other, but if you're at practice or something and you have some downtime, just like get out your homework and, you know, do it together, and then you can compare answers afterwards to see if you have any differences, and then you can ask each other like, oh, how did you get that, and hopefully get the right answer. But that doesn't mean copying. I'm not telling you that. Okay, now talking a little bit about extracurricular activities and things that you're going to get involved in. If this is your first year of high school, you probably have a lot more options for like sports and clubs and different things that you can do, and my advice is to definitely get involved, but don't do too many things at once, because like I said before with the whole college application drive thing, don't just like join 50 million different clubs because you want to put them all on your college applications. Look for things that you're really interested in, like, oh, I'd really like to try cross country, or like join Key Club, and do a couple things, or as many as you think you can handle, and you can always try something new the next year, so don't worry if you don't have time for something. But I would say try to join at least one club or sport or activity of some kind to broaden your horizons and meet new people, and, you know, just get involved in some different things. So I think that is all I have to say. Of course, when I turn off the camera, I'll just think of like 10 other things that I want to say, but that's all I have to tell you right now for advice for classes and academics and everything for high school. I'm sorry if it was kind of like rambly or out of order, because I didn't really have an order. I was just talking about things as I thought of them. So thank you so much for watching, and please let me know if you'd like to see more advice type videos, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!